Nextracker was one of the most important companies in the Energyear Italy Congress this year, and of course, one of the leading providers in solar tracker and software solutions. One was of the most important companies, not only in the Congress, but right now in Italy and in the renewable energy market around the world. And to talk about the company and of course of the Italian market, I have the pleasure to say hello today to Marco Garcia. He's Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder of the company. Welcome, Marco, and thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you, Catalina. It's a pleasure for me to be here and join you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Marco, thank you for being here today with us. And starting this conversation and having the pleasure to have you here with us, please provide a quick introduction about the company and your role in the company.
Thank you. So I'm a Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder with Nextracker. We founded the company in 2013, so 10 years ago, and we are now up to 85 gigawatts of trackers shipped around the world. We're the #1 solar tracker supplier globally. We've maintained 30% global tracker market share 8 years in a row since 2015. So we've continued to grow in the key tracker markets around the world. And our focus continues to be growth, especially in the emerging markets in Europe. So Europe is one of the greatest potentials for trackers, and we're very focused on the European market.
And with this huge experience in the renewable energy market, can you tell us more about the evolution of the company in this market? Let's talk about this last year, and what are your plans for the next year?
Certainly. So we've continued to grow our presence in the key tracker markets around the world. Some of the reasons that Nextracker continues to grow are the relationships that we're building with the long-term asset owners, specifically around continued energy production, optimized energy production. We have a true capture software that eliminates shading during backtracking hours during the morning and the afternoon, and improves performance during diffuse light days when there's clouds or rain. For the long-term asset owner who's going to own the asset for 25 to 30 years, this is very important to get additional energy throughout the life of the asset. So we build partnerships with the asset owners. Of course, we build partnerships with EPC contractors as well. It's recognized in the market that Nextracker is the fastest installing tracker. So the least amount of man hours required by EPC contractors to install trackers, especially the utility scale, hundreds of megawatt scale trackers. Nextracker is the fastest to install. EPCs like that. Another reason we're growing is the XTR product that we launched several years ago. So the extreme terrain following product. These are trackers that follow the terrain north-south, so on undulating terrains. So we minimize the earthworks and grading required before you can start installing the tracker, because our tracker rows follow the terrain north to south. So we're innovating to allow solar trackers to follow the terrain and to be built on hills, if you will. More and more projects in Europe are not, they're no longer on flat rectangular sites. They're more in challenging sites with some terrain, with some undulations, and the XTR extreme terrain following is able to satisfy those project requirements.
I know that the company has a lot of experience, you said before, globally. And with this experience, I want to talk about the Italian market, because when you have this vast experience globally, you can compare the markets and analyze deeper those markets. Can you explain us the behavior or the development of the Italian market during the last year, and how do you see the situation about the renewable energy market there?
Excellent. So yes, I'd love to talk about Italy. If you don't mind, I'll mention prior to discussing Italy, our growth in Europe in general. We started out in the traditional tracker markets, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and we're seeing growth now in Eastern Europe. So we now have projects in Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary. We're in Scandinavia now. We're in Denmark and Sweden, and we have projects in the UK. So it's very exciting in the European tracker marketplace to see trackers being developed and deployed even in the northern climates, where trackers now make sense because of the bifacial gain that you get from the backside of the module. If there's snow on the ground several months of the year, as you find in Northern Europe, then you get the albedo, you get the reflection off the snow to improve the tracker gain from the backside. Specific to Italy, we're very excited about the growth of the Italian market. We now have over 250 megawatts of utility scale projects in Italy. One of our most exciting projects is with Zero Generation. This is a project in Pontinia, called Pontinia, in the Lazio region. And this is exciting because it's an agrovoltaic project. So with the Nextracker 1P tracker, so one module in portrait across the tracker, Zero Generation was able to develop agrivoltaics growing crops between the tracker rows. And they're actually working with a farming co-op in the region. And I want to make sure I get this right. It's called Fattoria Solidale del Circeo. So Fattoria Solidale del Circeo is a farming co-op that provides jobs and growth opportunities for disadvantaged people. So it's a great story. They use about 65% of the array. It's a 70 megawatt solar tracker array, about 65% or 135 hectares is used for farming between the rows, and they're working with a local co-op to provide jobs for disadvantaged people. So really nice story. You combine clean energy production from the tracker system, and you provide jobs for the community, and then it's dual use. The agriculture, growing crops in between the rows of the trackers. This is now becoming more important in Italy and other markets in Europe where agrivoltaics is becoming a requirement. So we're delighted for that success story, again, with Zero Generation on the Pontinia project. In general, the Italian tracker market continues to grow. The Italian market deployed 3.5 gigawatts of solar in general through the first 9 months of 2023. That's significant growth. And on the utility scale side, the challenges of getting tracker projects permitted is really, let's say, what's keeping the growth from scaling even higher. So the autorizzazione unica process in Italy is challenging. Any Italian developer knows this. Many permits that you have to achieve from not only getting your land, but local communities, the environmental permitting, the grid interconnection. There's a set of a significant list of documents you must obtain in order to get that autorizzazione unica. So it continues to be a challenge, but we support development activities, and we are certainly prepared to continue to grow in the Italian market. We are now in 11 countries in Europe, and Europe is a focus market for Nextracker in general because of the potential in all the different markets.
You also mentioned some challenges. This is my next question. When we talk about renewables, we also talk about challenges because it's a booming market. We can talk about regulation, permitting, that you already mentioned, skilled people, or grid connections. There are a lot of challenges in this path. Can you explain, since your experience in the country and from your perspective, what are the main challenges in the Italian market right now?
As mentioned, the permitting is certainly the greatest challenge in the Italian market. I think it's understood by developers in Italy that the timeline to achieve all the permits they require in order to begin construction on a tracker project, it tends to be longer than in other countries. However, the opportunity is great because of the need for solar energy in Italy. There's a sense of the requirement to continue to deploy renewable energy in Italy, given the high cost of electricity today for all Italian consumers. It's important that the energy generation portfolio have more renewables and have more energy independence, so energy produced on site right here in Italy. Other challenges in Italy, in general, the shape of the country, the shape of the land, significant undulations, right? so the projects are rarely north-south rectangles, right? Typically, you have projects running northwest, southeast. There are undulations in the land. I mentioned earlier, we have the XTR product, the extreme terrain following product that follows the land north-south and minimizes grading and land movement. So it allows EPC contractors to get to the construction part of the project sooner by avoiding so much land movement and grading. So the land constraints, the shape of the land, and the ability to find plots large enough to do hundreds of megawatts at a time, these are challenges in Italy, and Nextracker helps solve those challenges by providing the XTR product that will not only follow the terrain, but also makes it faster to deploy and construct.
Marco, let's go back to your participation in Energyear Italy. It was one of the main characters in this Congress. Nextracker was one of the most important companies there. What was your opinion about this Congress this year?
We really like the Energyear Italy Congress. It's the key Congress that we participate in Italy each year. I like the setting there. It's more intimate. We're able to spend quality time with our partners, developers, owners, PV module suppliers, inverter suppliers, EPC partners. It's still a relatively small community in Italy, the solar community in Italy. I like to think that we're all on the same team. We're all solar warriors in the solar ecosystem working together to advance solar. And so it's a great coming together of the solar industry in Italy, and we're excited to participate in the next Energyear Italy.
I like this solar warrior people in the Congress. Thank you for sharing your opinion, and thank you, Marco, for being here today with us.
Thank you very much, Catalina.